Hi guys, Dr. Axe here.
Dr. Benner.
And we want to talk about paleo and how to make it gut friendly. It is still good for the gut, but I'm a big fan of GAPS and gut healing diets. So we're calling this paleo in a pot, and so we've modified it to get the best of both worlds. So kind of what is paleo and what are some of the rules?
So as you know, paleo is one of my favorite tools for my patients, but it has to be modified. But let's just really simplify paleo. Paleo is going to have its fats. So we have olives here, coconut, and the oils. We have our proteins like eggs and chicken, beef, fish. We have our vegetables, and then we have our fruits. Then we have the nuts. And so as you see that paleo, what it leaves out is going to be the grains, which have a lot of lectins. They're not nutrient dense. They're very inflammatory. And it also leaves out the legumes, which can be very, very inflammatory as well.
So what are some of the rules? We've kind of simplified this into 4 rules. What are the first 2 rules here?
So the first rule is when we're talking about healing the gut, we have to have healthy food, right? But we have to have it where the gut can actually handle it, where it can absorb it, and it's not too much of a burden on the gut. So when we're looking at nuts, one of the things that we do for our patients, at the beginning, if we're sick and our gut is inflamed and it's not working properly, one of the things that we want to do is stay away from nuts themselves. Okay, why? Because they're very, very hard to digest. Even if you chew them properly, they're still in particulate form and they're not going to be able to absorb well, so it's actually a burden on the gut. We have to walk before we run. So when we're talking about the nuts, what we try to do is get some organic almond butter. That would be awesome, because it's actually broken down, actually has some other fats in it. Go ahead.
Almost like pre-digested.
Pre-digested.
So it's done some of the work our gut would normally have to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so the other thing that we have for our patients is too many times, as you know, they have blood sugar problems. And that's just not only because of blood sugar, what you're eating, but that's because of stress. And so one of the things that we do is we have our patients, when they're having their fruits, is we stay away from most of the fruits and we try to stay with berries. They're high in polyphenols, which is going to help your microbiome, but also they're going to help keep that glycemic index down and that blood sugar fluctuation down. And that's exactly what we need to do.
Awesome. So rule number 3 for paleo in a pot is going to be our foods need to be cooked. Obviously, you don't need to cook the blueberries or the almond butter, but a lot of, especially our meats and our vegetables, need to be cooked well, because think about how abrasive a piece of celery is on all that fiber. So we want to cook all of this stuff. Again, we can do it on the stove top. We can saute our vegetables. Steaming especially is amazing, because Chinese medicine calls it one pot. And it's all cooked together. It's mushy. It's easy to digest.
Almost like baby food, right?
Exactly. Like, again, a baby doesn't eat raw salad. It eats cooked mushy apples, essentially. Cooking is going to be much easier to digest. Now, we're not after high nutrient diet. We're after gut healing diet. That has to happen. If your gut's not healed, you'll never absorb the nutrients. That's why we're doing this first.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, if we're not cooking things, they're still going to be a higher nutrient. But if, like you said, if they don't absorb, all that nutrients goes to waste. And secondarily, it irritates the gut. Thus, our good friend Instapot comes in handy. So why don't you share with them the benefits of the Instapot?
I love this thing. You must love it because you have one at your house here. So the amazing thing about a pressure cooker is that pressure breaks down lectins. Now, lectins are very damaging to the gut. They are. Okay, and some very healthy foods have lectins in them. Sweet potatoes are one. So any food with a lectin, you can look up a lectin list, or foods with the high in lectins. And if you're eating any of those foods on paleo, they have to be cooked in a pressure cooker, or you cannot have them, because they will irritate and damage the gut. So it's that high pressure that breaks down those lectins, and lectins are what keeps bugs and pests away and can be damaging to the gut.
Exactly.
So again, those are the 4 rules. Make sure you're doing the butters instead of raw nuts, making sure you're doing the lower sugar fruits, which would really just be berries. Make sure you're cooking all of your foods, and preferably, especially those lectin ones, in a pressure cooker. I love to use my crock pot as well.
Yes.
So again, cook together mushy foods. And then kind of the little bonus number 5, I guess I want to add here, is bone broth. Very healing to the gut. And a secret that I do is once I make my chicken, I debone it. I reuse the bones, put them in the pressure cooker, throw an onion in there, throw some flavoring, some carrots in there, boom, cook that on high pressure in here for 3 hours, and now you got a bunch of bone broth. Absolutely. And you can drink 4 to 6 ounces of that twice a day. It's gonna be great for gut health.
So it's not complicated, right?
It's not.
With a slow cooker, it takes a long time, but you get this amazing food. With the Instapot, literally hours. So when somebody says, you know what, I love this, but it's too complicated, it's really not.
No.
I mean, once you get used to doing this, it's actually simpler to be able to do this. Have a few ingredients, have some good recipes, stick with them, and get healthy.
So there's 8 food groups. We're allowing you to have 5 out of the 8, which really isn't that restrictive. And so again, and if you're following Whole30, which is very similar, hey, Whole30, the 5 rules we just gave you, implement those 5 rules to Whole30, you're going to get the gut healthy benefits with Whole30. So thanks, guys.